Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today guys, I've got a game from the Razor replay pack of the week, and it is featuring the one, the only, LiquidTLO, who is the red Zerg player in the top right. He's up against KrasS, the blue Terran in the lower left. That means this is a ZvT, and well, the map is Cloud Kingdom, and that should mean some awesome fun. There's lots of different things we can see going on, but most likely, let's think of this from TLO's point of view. We should see a 15 hatchery, followed up by a 16 pool, and then he's going to really have to start thinking about his third base, and I'll come back to that in a second, because what is KrasS most likely going to do? I would put money on a 1-Rax command center. It's just really what happens nowadays. And what do you do to follow that up? Well, you get Hellions, you get the barracks down, you get a reactor on the barracks, you then get a factory, and you switch them over, you get Hellions out, and then you can quite often follow up with a Banshee as well, which is just nasty times. But the key thing of that opening is, of course, that you do have your command center down at the same time that the Zerg player has their hatchery down, and then suddenly the Zerg player is like, oh my god, I'm on equal bases, what do I do? And you have two options. Option one is you just go and kill them, and that is a really good solution. A lot of the time in this game is just to go and win. However, it's a bad solution if it doesn't work, because then you're just going to lose. Now, the other solution, of course, is to out-expand, and you take this third base. You take it like a complete boss. You boldly go over to this part of the map, and you're like, yep, third base is where it's at. But the trouble is, this area, they are big wide open areas. Hellions can come in, tanks can get in there and siege up, Marines can even ruin your day. And if you get a Banshee in your main base at the same time, well, things are just going to go terrible. But what's this KrasS? He's hiding that barracks. What are you doing? That Overlord, as you can see, is a long way away. They are not eagles, they cannot see that far, and well, that means that we could see a lot of aggression. We've also got a second barracks coming out, so this is definitely going to be some marine pressure. So perhaps not the 1-Rax command center I initially thought, but instead we're going to see some early aggression. This SCV most likely going to go across the map, build a bunker outside TLO's natural, and then TLO is going to have to defend like a beast. And if he does, he will be in a good stead, because well, he's got his natural half done, and as you can see, KrasS has got no side of his own expansion yet, so with any luck that will go fine. This Overlord is peeking in, being like, what's going on guys? The Marine is spotted going across the map and is gonna go and start hitting at that Overlord, but unfortunately, since the Overlord's got the ridiculously awesome speed buff, they are not going to be able to get away. Meanwhile, that SCV hugging the hatchery, that is one way to give away that you have got an SCV there. The two drones are coming now to deal with that. The spawning pool has just finished. That means Zerglings are now an option. Spine crawlers are also an option, and a Queen is in production as well. That is always very, very good. These Marines, they're still coming out. We've got, what is that, 4 now? 3 out, a 4th on the way. This SCV still alive. Needs to start thinking about if it's going to put down a bunker or not. It seems like not is the desired path. Second Queen on the way out already for TLO. These Marines, they're coming around the side. They're going to try and get out unseen. Of course, this Overlord is now going to come in and see that there is no command center, and that's a very, very important scouting information for TLO, because he now knows this is one base pressure. And if you see this on the ladder, don't be afraid to chuck down a spine crawler. If you don't see that base, well, you're probably going to get some pressure, some poking and prodding, so chuck down a spine crawler and just be safe. Unless, of course, you are super awesome like TLO and you feel safe doing that. Now, these Marines, they're still hiding. We've got the natural on its way down now, and of course, TLO will come in and see that going down, but obviously the timings of that are really quite peculiar, because you don't generally see that late. That is a really, really late timing. We do of course have the 2 gas flowing this up now, so that is all fairly normal. The 2 queens are out, 2 more queens on the way. TLO absolutely baller, getting out those 2 queens just for spreading creep and the early defense, which we're about to see is ever so important. These hidden Marines on their way over now, so suddenly there's twice the number of Marines TLO is expecting. He's only got 2 Zerglings on their way out, and well, this is actually quite a sizable number of Marines already, and that can be really quite difficult to deal with, because the Queens alone are going to struggle. We've got more Zerglings in production. The 3rd Queen is already there, and well, we've got the drones getting pulled. They're going to try and surround and do as much damage as possible. 1 Queen is going to go down. The 2nd Queen is getting focused incredibly quickly. The drones acting as just a wall, and TLO dealt with that masterfully, I must say. That was absolutely brilliant. He only lost, well, half of the resources of his opponent. I believe he only lost a Queen and maybe a drone or 2. Yeah, 1 Queen and 1 drone. So that was incredibly well done, and TLO is now in amazing stead to go forward in this match, because let's face it, he's got his natural base up. He's had it up for quite a while. Worker count wise, he's nearly 10 ahead already, so that is really, really nice, and he is speaking a language I do not understand, but I know it's got something to do with SCVs. I'm guessing. And KrasS agrees with that, so never mind. I'm not going to try and translate. Maybe someone can in the comments section. That would be awesome. If you can translate that, chat, go for it. Tell me what was said, and we will all bask in your glory of being able to speak more than one language, because we should all do that, and I'm a terrible person for not having learned anything other than English. Anyway, looking back to the game, we do have, of course, Creepsburg going across. TLO, he's going to start thinking about, hey, what can I do? And it looks like with the double Evo and the Baning Nest coming down, he's looking to do some damage, because he knows lots of Marines are on their way over. There's not really anything other than Marines yet. We do have the Blue Flame Hellion follow-up coming down, as well as the third command center from KrasS. He's trying to catch up economically. Blue Flame really, really strong, and if TLO doesn't actually get his Roach Warren down, it could be quite difficult for him to deal with those Blue Flame Hellions. But of course, he's got his lair on the way. The Baning Nest is strong as well against Hellions, and well, it could just be some good fun, and it could actually be TLO gearing up for some 2-base pressure, knowing that his opponent put a lot into that initial aggression and got very, very little out of it. But this drone going across is almost certainly going to become a hatchery. He is the little drone that could, and that means that TLO is happy to take this into the longer games stages, getting to the later game. He's got the upgrades coming down. He's really everywhere he would want. Meanwhile, KrasS, he has got no upgrades coming down yet, but he does have his engineering bay on the way. He does, of course, have the Blue Flame upgrade nearly half done now. He's going to go, most likely, with quite a few Marines and Hellions, which is actually a very, very difficult unit composition to deal with the Zerg, just purely because Roaches alone can't deal with it. Banelings alone struggle with it. But a combination of the two, they can be pretty good. Now, here are the Banelings morphing in. Obviously, this creep spread is going absolutely boss mode at the moment with TLO, and this is just why you get Queens just to spread creep everywhere, because it just works like a complete beast. The macro hatch on its way down. Looking here, we do have those first few Marines on their way over. The Hellions are getting higher in numbers. They should come over fairly soon. If they were left now, they'd be over there in plenty of time with Blue Flame. The Watchtower being held, just trying to deny some scouting. A couple of Zerglings there nearly get taken out, but do manage to run away at the last second. One will die. The second almost certainly will die as well now, and the Marine survives. Hero Marine is doing good so far. The Banelings still happily sitting there. This is good placement of the Banelings, I must say, because that way they can quickly get either to the third or natural. Baning speed coming down as well. Very important in helping you deal with this sort of aggression. Looking down as well, we've got siege mode on its way. These Hellion numbers are getting very, very high, and it's completely unscouted. There's already 10 on the field, and we do have 2 more coming down as well. Now we've got the Starport, we've got more barracks coming in, so it's not going to be a mech transition as you quite often see Terran players go for after going Blue Flame Hellions, but he's actually going much more into a conventional tank marine style play, probably with some medevacs in there as well. The 1-1 upgrade's done, the infestation pit nearly at the critical point of pathogen glands where you can start the infestor production, which we see now. That's going to really, really help deal with the Hellions if they were out, say, now, because obviously fungal growth would lock them down and allow those Banelings to connect easily. But here we go, we've got the Banelings moving across already, and this could be a lovely little connection, a good little hit. There's a couple more hits going off. They don't get that many Hellions, unfortunately. Blue Flame has now been revealed, though. More Banelings are morphing in. We've got a lot of Zerglings. Those drones are running away. They need to be careful not to line up, though, and look at all the drones melt. This is massive damage being done by KrasS, who's going just straight for the natural. Those Zerglings are going to have to go very, very nice connections, but they are getting roasted off incredibly quickly. The Queen just trying to interrupt the pathing. Drones getting pulled back anyway and every way they can. Only 4 Hellions remain, but already good damage has been done. The Infestors are in now, and 1 fungal growth will put an end to this party of the Hellions, and well, it all gets cleaned up. How much did TLO lose there? Well, he's lost 13 workers in total. That does actually put KrasS ahead in terms of the worker count, and when you factor mules in as well, that's good. We've got the third base moving down, the timing absolutely ace right now from KrasS, who has really come back into this match there. The third base, of course, is up for TLO, but he needs to start thinking about his 4th already, because he's going to see this move down of the base. So unless he's going to go for some counter aggression, which it looks like he may try and do, he's going to have tough times. But obviously just these 3 infestors aren't really that huge. They do have burrow though, so obviously we could see some burrow infestor play, which is always fun. The Zerglings, if they do get a good connection, could be quite ingenious, because obviously those Marines do ball up an awful lot, and Chain Fungals could start going down, and that is a really nice engagement. A great burrow. That was absolutely on the money. A scan goes down with the Infestors running away as best they can. 1 does survive, 2 survives as well. And of course, this little hidden Infestor here can lock down an awful lot of infested Terrans. Another scan goes off, and does KrasS know that Infestor is there? The answer is no, he does not. He does see it though, it moves just into range of that scan, which is unfortunate. TLO could have had an amazing positioning there. Anyway, Hive is on the way down for TLO at the moment. He doesn't have his Spire started yet, so I'm thinking it's going to be Ultras first, which is a really nice progression actually, especially when you've been maxing out those upgrades early on. the Ultras can be very, very strong indeed, especially against kind of the mid-game composition of Terran with fungal growth. They're concussive shells on their way down. We do have more tanks in production, missile turrets coming down already, maybe just ready to deal with any kind of poking or prodding from Mutalisks, which is of course a possibility. The fourth base is just getting taken now by TLO. We've got these Hellions moving across, but the Infestors are there, and Infestors are just such a threat to Hellions, because one of the biggest assets Hellions have is their maneuverability and just how quick they are. Of course, fungal growth denies that by rooting them in place, so we'll wait and see how that goes down. We've got double expansion coming out from TLO. This is beautiful. It's absolutely lovely. It means that, of course, if one base dies, he's still got another one spare. In terms of other things coming down, we've got Spore Crawlers coming down. That's just a nice little play there. Those Spore Crawlers should mainly be coming down at the natural and third as well. There we go, Spore Crawlers coming down there. That's just, they're all of the natural, actually denying drops, which is really quite nice. Meanwhile, we've got quite a few units moving across. The two medevacs are fairly strong. The tanks staying back, quite surprisingly. Siege mode is done. I'm surprised these tanks aren't being brought as well with the rest of this force, because they do offer good support against the Zergling Baneling force. Plus 2-2 is just clicked in for KrasS. 2-2 about to kick in for TLO as well. Baneling's morphing, as you can see there. 10 are in production. We do have the fourth base nearly up. We've got more Spore Crawlers coming down. We've got the fifth base as well, looking pretty solid. And KrasS just seems to be getting a bit confused about where he's going to go. The Ultralisk Cavern is in production for TLO at the moment. We've got the first Vikings coming out, which is, well, a bit of a mistake, and this is something you can often trick a lot of Terran players off by getting those Ultras, because they pump a lot of money into getting Vikings out ready to deal with Broodlords, and then the Broodlords just never show. A good group of Marines getting out there. One Marine survives with 1 HP. That is one lucky Marine. The Banelings are not going to be able to get in there. There's a good supply depot wall off, etc. The tanks are in good placement as well. But the problem for KrasS is really seems quite kind of cornered into 3 bases, which isn't a major problem. He's getting 2 more barracks up as we speak. He's starting some Marauder production, but not much. Obviously, the Ultralisk Cavern is just about to clicking. I'm not sure if it has been scouted by KrasS yet. If we take a look, has he seen it? Yes, he did see it in production, so he should start the Marauder production. Surely the Spire on the way out for TLO. Those Hellions still being effective, even at the kind of 16-minute 30 mark. They're still poking and prodding, which is good. You want to keep your opponent trying to defend every base, because of course the problem for TLO now is he's split really quite wide, nearly the widest he can, and while that's a plus side for the Terran player, able to poke and prod, and the defensive army not being able to be everywhere at once, it's also a downside because it makes him very exposed to counter-attacks, which we may see here with a lot of Zerglings coming across. Obviously the 5th base could get taken down, but the supply depot wall-off goes off precisely on time, which is good right there. We do have the tanks in good siege position. Are we going to see TLO trying to defend this base, or is he just going to sacrifice it? For the time being, it looks like he's just going to let it die. May get a fungal growth off, not quite on the money. Some Baneling hits do manage to go down. The Marines get cleared out for the moment, but of course a lot more of the forces up here. All of the Zerglings which do go for the counter-attack have now been taken down. We've also got just 2 Marines sitting up the top there. Some medevacs getting picked off for the moment. Another good fungal growth goes down. Another medevac falls. And of course, once those medevacs start going, you have to be careful with the stims, because obviously you've got nothing to repair the damage stim does to your units. Now, obviously we've got more fungal growth going down. A bit of bad infestor control there. Did run it into those units. But what I really like from TLO is he's just playing very, very strategically. He's not trying to over-engage anywhere. He's just trying to keep the force back while he waits for the rest of these Ultralists to come down. One Ultra getting very confused. He is a lover, not a fighter. He just wants to cuddle them. He does not want to attack. And luckily he gets transfused. He had only just hatched. And to be fair, being a bit confused when you've just hatched must be quite normal, I would imagine. Anyway, we've got, for the moment, KrasS pulling back. He needs to be a bit more defensive. He's got his 4th base coming over. That's going to be a planetary fortress, because obviously once you get planetary here, it's just a bit easier to hold it. Obviously, the Greatest Spire on its way out for TLO, who's doing nice. He's maxed out pretty much here at the moment. Greatest Spire in a good position as well. Now, basically being in the middle here just means that if any drops go down, it's very unlikely to get there and be able to get focused down too quickly. That Spore Crawler is going to be able to pick off the medevac, which is very, very nice indeed. The Queen should be able to deal with the rest of those, especially with some Ultras coming to help them out there. Meanwhile, we do have more Ultras coming down towards this 4th base, but they're not going to want to run in there because there is lots of siege tanks up. Now, what is the Marauder numbers like? Only 5. And you really want to see quite a few more Marauders coming in order to deal with high Ultralisk numbers. As you can see, 10 on the field. But the problem is if you get too many Marauders and then the Zerg tech switches into Broodlords, which of course are going to be available very, very shortly for TLO, you can have a lot of units that are absolutely useless. So it can be quite difficult to get the right army composition, and I think that's something the Terrans struggle with most. One Ultra getting taken down there. We've got full attack from pretty much every angle. Tanks getting taken out everywhere. We should see some fungal growth hitting. Massive fungal growth go down everywhere. These Ultras absolutely destroying everything in sight. The Planetary Fortress just kicked in time. Is the repair going to go down in time though? No, it looks like not for the time being. Some repairs going down now, so just the right timing from KrasS there. Those ultras are going to have to get out of there ASAP. We've got 11 corruptors coming down, so we're going to have a big transition into Broodlords. Meanwhile, that single Hellion is going to take a bit of damage. The infested Terran won't win that fight though, but does get quite a lot of damage done. Meanwhile, the ultras will be able to clean up everything else. In terms of loss tab, very, very equal. Hardly anything between, only about 1,000 resources, so this is very close to this stage of the game. We do have the 6th base coming out from TLO at the moment in the top left position. Meanwhile, we have the 5th command center being built here by KrasS, so that's all good as well. Still some more aggression coming down. Some transfuses going down on those queens. Absolutely ninja micro there by TLO. And, well, looking at this, well, KrasS, he seems to be moving forward to try and do some more aggression, but reinforcements are on their way in. Corruptors are there. They're going to help pick off the medevacs, obviously, but until they morph into Broodlords, they're not a huge threat to this Terran ground army. But the sieges don't go up. The fungal growths are absolutely on the money, and we now have more Broodlords in production. We've got 2 Broodlords moving across the map, a couple of units forgotten, but they are being brought in as well. And now, of course, we've got a good counter-attack coming in here from KrasS. And that's a really nice small group of units. It's enough to really, really quickly take out hatcheries, but not enough to really weaken his main army. Now, of course, these infestors can fungal growth down onto the mineral patches should they want to, but the key thing is picking off this army. The Broodlords are there. They need to spread out preemptively, ready to deal with. Of course, Broodlords, the biggest thing they do is they force siege tanks to remain unsieged, because otherwise they start splashing Marines hugely. And of course, Broodlords great at taking out planetary fortresses as well. They just slowly pick off everything. There's a good number of corruptors there still as well to help deal with the Vikings. Well, this is good play. Meanwhile, obviously, the 4th base of TLO has been taken out, but this is where the main action is going to happen, and really where this game could be won or lost. Cancel goes down on the other command center. The Broodlord's able to completely clean up everything. That planetary fortress will go down shortly, but meanwhile, we've got a counterattack coming in from KrasS. We could end up in a bit of a base race situation here, because he's pulled pretty much his entire army back to go and deal with that. And the big downside to Broodlord infestors, of course, how immobile they are. They just take so long to get back, so and the defense could be quite difficult. A lot of Banelings morphing in, but the big thing missing from TLO's army is the spine crawler wall, and this is the prime example of why you build lots of spine crawlers when you go Broodlord Infestor, because 1, you've got a whole load of minerals, but 2, and most importantly, it is something to delay this push, allowing your army to get back to defend. Those Banelings is getting taken out near instantly, and we really are in a bit of a base race situation here. And as you can see, for the moment, TLO is having to be very, very tentative with his movements, which is not ideal. We've got units from KrasS going to literally every base at once. This top left base could be the saving grace, though. The tank's still doing good damage at the moment. This 5th base of TLO is getting taken out as well now. Meanwhile, units still going across the map. We've got Ultras doing damage absolutely everywhere. Broodlords doing damage everywhere. Lifts go off, but of course a handful of Corruptors are still there. But the damage could just be too low to allow him to keep up with KrasS in this base race. And obviously base racing in Terran always dangerous, because they can just lift their buildings and flow them to wherever they should want. Obviously, if KrasS focuses down those Corruptors, he's always certainly going to win the base race by able to lift the buildings, and that is going to be real money time. Meanwhile, the 3rd base for TLO just gets taken out, and, well, this is pretty sick play. We do have a couple of units back here, and the important thing is KrasS doesn't split his units up too much, because obviously that then exposes him to being attacked, and, well, here we go. We've got more units coming down, and it looks like TLO should win this now. He's about 100 supply ahead. He's doing a good job, and this Terran army was just overly split up, so we should see a GG shortly out of KrasS. But good work by TLO, and it really was just the KrasS split his army up too much, and TLO had a good engagement of the 4th base early on. So yeah, pretty much everything's dying now, and yeah, I'm gonna speed this up just because it is all over. There is no way to come back from this right now. They're not even moving their units, so we should see the GG shortly. But here we go. We should see everything get cleaned up now. Those tanks are going to go down in double quick time, and yeah, that should be it. 17 supply. So they're just having a nice chat, so I'm just going to speed this up to 8 times speed so we can all watch the end. But pretty much everything being killed, bar this one base, which is now floating away at 8 times speed, which is really hard to follow, by the way, guys. But hopefully any second we should see this all dead. Meanwhile, the last little Viking gets taken out. Just one command center. Go on, go and kill the command center, TLO. Go on. But no, the GG goes down first, so it's not a complete win, but that's fine. TLO with great play there, and the only criticism I'd have is obviously put down the spine crawlers. They are so good at helping you defend, and it could have saved TLO quite a few bases, and even perhaps stop KrasS getting really any situation where a base race was a possibility. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you did enjoy. Leave a cool comment, like the video, and subscribe, because I get new games up every single day of the week. But I hope you did enjoy, and bye for now.